Bloodthreadshears. I am also known in the dance world as Oriana Amaz.
Oh, what am I doing? Oh, what am I doing? Hello everyone, good afternoon, merry time zone, and welcome to my stream. I'm Bloodthreadshears, Shears for short, and welcome to the final installment of Knitting Basics 101, a 4-part series where I teach the bare bones basics for anyone who's interested in learning how to knit. So give me 1 second, and there we go. Just need to take care of a couple of things. Alright, so before we get started, I'd like to just move this over here for safety's sake. I'd like to have a few announcements and then the community board, and then we'll jump right into this. So, give me 1 minute. Yeah. So first and foremost, my schedule has been returning to normal, and I am planning on finishing up Okami this Sunday. I had played around a little bit and tried to get a little bit more coin before actually finishing it, and I'm very excited to actually finish a game that I started and to have proper captions this time. So I hope everything goes well. Fingers crossed that I don't lose my patience or anger. Because, oh boy, some of those side quests were something. But, yeah. Look forward to that. And then on Saturday, I'm going to be starting to wash all the fabric for Mock-Up 2.0. And I have already washed. I need to iron 1.0 and see where to go from there. Next up, I am plugging my Kofi because I'm trying to raise $2,500 for a dedicated gaming desktop and a 2-monitor setup. My laptop has been with me since 2020, and it's starting to show its wear and tear. It's been warping at the keyboard, and due to the fact that I play video games, I edit, I do a lot of stuff on this laptop, I'd like to bring it back and just use it specifically for photo editing on the go. And having something that is a little bit more powerful at 32 gigs of memory would be amazing, especially since I would never have to worry about technical issues, and I could play video games on this channel that I've always wanted to play and not have to worry about my stream staggering. So if you have the coin and you'd like to make a one-time or become a monthly supporter, the link is in the chat, and you get access to updates on the Sophie Dress project. I usually post some photos on there, and I'm going to be writing up the next update, which is a very brief thing about the TikTok I made. And you can find me there on TikTok at Bloodthreadshears, same name as here. So, next bit is last night I was joined with Lonzo. Unfortunately, Happy Capster and that nerd Tori were unable to be there last night. We love you, we miss you, we hope to see you next in part 2. And that's right, there's gonna be a part 2. Because we basically did, Lonzo and I did our own little brand of chaos with my character, Doom Kitty Rar, and Lonzo's character, Javier. And we got to do a lot, and we learned a lot. I was learning on the go with the character sheet, but I think I'm starting to get the hang of it, and I'm really enjoying Masks: A New Generation. And Rafiki is an amazing person. He's an amazing DM. I would totally play with him again. And we are just figuring out right now the scheduling, like basically schedule shuffle number 2, Electric Boogaloo, and once we have like a proper announcement and like everybody is ready to do their thing, I'll let you know here. Last but not least, I have a YouTube. I am uploading almost all of my VODs up onto YouTube, so if you miss something here, it'll be up on there in perpetuity, or at least until the internet goes down. Knocking on wood on that one. I also plan on maybe doing a couple of short videos on there talking about certain things, and I also have a couple of things planned for July, so look forward to that. And yay. That's basically all the announcements. And if you are new here, hi. If you're curious about the little wall of text here, this is basically my standard commands list. Basically about why the actually autistic is there, rules and regs, pronouns. We have a pronouns extension that me and many other streamers use to show pronouns. And I go a step further in asking how you wish to be referred. I struggle with pronunciation, and I did not know how to spell Tchaikovsky until high school, because I only heard it first, and if I read it first, I don't know how to pronounce it unless I hear it. So there's going to be some fun times. But announce and pronouns, what you want to announce, how you want to be called, and pronouns on how you want to be referred. So there is that. So on to the community board. And first and foremost, my friend Hello Boogie is a artist, designer, business owner. She recently got hit by Sheen, who copied one of her designs. And I say that is bullshit. Support actual queer folks who are running their businesses, especially during Pride. She recently came out with a new Pride collection, so you can go to helloboogie.com, and I'll put that into chat. She has wonderful outfits, lovely stickers, one of which is gracing my laptop, Betsy Henderson. I also have leggings that are super comfortable, and I use them for rehearsals. They're beautiful, they're bold, and they are comfy. So if you want to celebrate Pride properly, support Black queer creatives like Boogie. And Boogie, if you are watching this, hi, I cannot say how awesome you are enough. So yeah. And next up, the itch.io bundle for Buffalo is live. If you want to be able to help support grassroots organizations in Buffalo, New York after the domestic terrorist attack, and yes, that is what it was. Let me pull up the link. Laptop, it is not even hot enough outside for you to do that. Quit complaining. Okay, there we go. There we go. So the link is in the chat right now. Go to itch.io and pledge your support. Every dime goes towards these organizations that help. And there's a few noticeable names on there where there are TTRPG, video games, all this wonderful stuff for a wonderful cause. So next up, let me close that out. I've been talking about this for some time, and while I may not be able to go, if you have funds to go to England and do Dungeons and Dragons in a freaking castle, you should do so. And the one and only Cipher of Tyr will be there. She has a table open. As far as I know, those spots are going quickly, and the opportunity to sit at a table with Cipher DMing a one-of-a-kind story, go for it. Like, holy crap, she's amazing. She's a wonderful DM. She does a lot for the community. So if you want to do a campaign where you're in a freaking castle, here's your chance. Information's in the chat right now. And last but not least, I've talked about my friend Chaos Faye. All of the stuff that I have that are quilted is made by Chaos Faye. She's a 4th generation quilter, disabled creative, and my friend. Boogie and I know her through our Tumblr days. And, oh, that's going down. So, she's currently open for commissions. So if you want coasters, mug rugs, altar mats, desk mats, table runners, actual freaking quilts. As of right now, she's still open for commissions, and she and her husband are trying to find a new place to live after their landlord terminated their lease without any notice. So if you want to help out a disabled creative, who's also a queer creative, and fellow Dragon Age trash, all of the information is in chat right now. So, all of that in mind. And also, go follow Boogie on Hello Boogie. All of her socials should be in the website. And I have tweeted about her today because I will be loud. I've helped in the past and I will continue to help however I can. So, that has been the community board. I'm going to switch this over and actually close out a couple of tabs because, oh boy. Let's actually save you in there. Done. Cool. Okay. Why are you overheating? Okay. Anyways, I'm going to switch this over to the craft cam. So let's get to it. All right, so I have a couple of things here for blocking, and what does that mean when I say that? So basically, we have our little swatch right here. I'll move my straw out of the way. We've knit this up, we've woven in the ends, and now it's still a little flippy floppy. Okay, what the hell do we do now? Well, you have options. Now, I don't have an iron with me and I don't feel comfortable using steam near my electronics. So, blocking is basically the process of shaping, either through steam or through soaking, a garment, and then pinning it down and shaping it however the hell you need it to be. So, we have this. This is Malabrigo, and it is wool, merino wool, and it's very soft, it's very pretty. So, blocking, for wet blocking, you would need some lanolin and some tepid water. For steam blocking, you just need a hand steamer or an iron, and maybe just a towel on top, just in case. So, a quick note, I do want to let people know who are allergic to lanolin, do not use this if you have a reaction to it. Always test it first on a small area. This way, if you know that this is going to be in direct contact with your skin, like a garment, like a shirt or a sweater, test things out before you go full tilt. I have this bottle because my smaller bottles are somewhere in the house, and I bought this and then I found the other two. But I am using Eucalan, which is a no rinse delicate wash, and there are lanolin free options out there. You can actually go to a local lingerie store and they should have like a no agitation wash ready to go. I use lanolin because it works, it makes things very soft, and this has eucalyptus and lavender. But you can find this without any scent if you are allergic to either. So excuse me while I take a sip. So finishing things off with a knitted garment will require your finished item, some lanolin, and as you can see over here, I have a bowl full of tepid water. Room temperature is fine. As long as it's like warm tepid, you're fine. A puzzle mat that you can get at the dollar store for cheap. A towel. And hold on one second. Lexi, that is a horrible place to pass out. Go on your pillow. Okay. Whee! And you will need what are called little pins. You can either use these or the T-pins. Basically, that look like this. This will hold them in place. And either using the wrist pin cushion that I normally use, or just this for sake of ease. So first things first. For wet blocking, when you're doing a flat garment, all you have to do is just give it a little wiggle to get an idea of how you want the shape to look. Do you want it to be like a perfect square in this case, or do you want to like manipulate it where it looks like it has scallops? So I'm going to bring the bowl over very carefully. I also, for sake of safety, I have a little paper towel down here. I also have a towel to wring out any of the extra water. So take this, and also if you're doing this at home, do it in the bathroom. This way, like if you have like a bowl of water or a bucket, like if you're doing like extra stuff like I'm going to do, this will take some time. So I just put this in very gently. And from there, just gonna push it down, make sure that it's fully soaked. Dry that out. And I'm gonna put a timer for about 30 minutes. So that timer is going. So while that is going, I'm going to have this put over here. And for wet blocking, that's basically it. So if you have any other projects that you need to do, or you have ends to weave in, like this little sampler that I did, and I'm very proud of myself for doing this. I designed this on the fly, and if all goes well, I'll ask for some test knitters and maybe just put it up on Ravelry for like $1 or something. I don't know. But let me pick out my tapestry needle. Where is my tapestry needle? Oh, there they are. So that is going to take some time. But as you can already see, it's starting to absorb all the water and sink to the bottom. You don't do anything to it, you leave it alone. Agitation will cause it to felt, especially for wool. So this is just like a sampler of what I normally do. I have like a little bucket that's currently downstairs that I have to clean out again. And I am going to take specifically a hot day where I can take this all outside and put it in the bucket, leave it, and then once it's done, I can pin it down and put it on the table in the sun. The drying process, depending on the type of garment, the fiber, like what you're doing with it, will take some time. And that is very much the waiting game. So as I am waiting, I will be fielding questions about knitting, the blocking process, and in regards to the difference between wet blocking and steam blocking, it's personal preference. Certain patterns will call for a steam blocking, others will call for wet. If you want full manipulation and you don't mind waiting a few days for something to dry into a shape that you want, wet blocking is wonderful. If you're just looking to do a quick steam block to shape out some lace, and fun little fact, you can block your store-bought knitted items. So if you have some like crochet lace or knitted lace that you bought at, say, like Target or something, do not throw it away if it's misshapen. You can take a warm iron and mid-steam, depending on the fabric. If it's cotton, it can take a little bit more heat. If it's like anything synthetic, go for a low heat. You can take a hand steamer or just take your item, put a towel on top of that, and iron. Once it's like absorbed all the steam, you can shape it however you want, and it does dry a lot faster. Okay. And oftentimes, if you're using like a no agitation soak, like the lanolin, always do a test run. Since you don't know how something's going to react, if something is prone to felting quite a bit, always do like a little test run before throwing in your garment. because you don't know whether or not something is going to felt. And if that is your intention, go for it. And if it is not your intention, it's a live and learn type of situation. So let's see. Let me clear up my notifications real quick. Okay, cool. So let's see. Once that one is done, I'm going to actually throw this one in and show a little bit of differences that the different things that you can do when you have lace elements into your garment versus just straight up garter stitch or stockinette. But the basic premise is pinning it down into a shape that you are happy with, and then just leaving it the hell alone. And from personal experience, and when I first started doing this, because the person who used to do all the blocking for me no longer did it, they had stopped, I was just like, okay, how do I do this? It was a lot of trial and error, and my style is, especially with lace, is pinning it to an inch of its life so it maintains the shape. Because with blocking, if your lace looks like this, like super tight, when it absorbs the lanolin, the water, the fibers loosen up and you can manipulate that, which is a great thing, especially if you want the lace to show. So, alright. I just need to take a quick bio, so I'll be right back. So, getting back to information about blocking. Let's do that. If for any reason that you do have an allergy to lanolin, don't use it. Do the steam blocking. It's a little bit more time consuming in regards to labor, but you don't run the risk of getting a reaction. Especially with fibers that have had, like wool, that have had the lanolin properly extracted. I know it makes no sense, but wool is hypoallergenic, meaning there's less irritation going to happen. So let's get... And I'd also recommend, thanks to a friend who had told me this when I first started out, when you're blocking, make sure it's in a dry room. This way to prevent any mold or mildew. And also keep it away from your pets. If you have a large surface area, such as a table or even your floor, you can get like those, these puzzle mats, like this one right here, at like the dollar store or Five Below, which is where I got the large ones, which is this is like 1x1. It's a lot larger than this, but I bought a ton of them for $5 a piece, and they work beautifully. And because it's foam, you're not going to really need to worry too hard about having to deal with... There we go. Holes in it. You got it for cheap. It's not a big deal. And it's a much more affordable alternative to blocking boards. They're great, don't get me wrong. They fold up, you can put them away. If you are on a budget, like I am, the puzzle mats are basically the same thing, albeit with less graphs, like a grid. So the grid helps when you're trying to be precise. The regular old mats are just good for when you just want to eyeball it. So let me bring you down just a tiny bit. I still want everyone to see the bowl in the background. And as you can tell, it's starting to really like absorb everything. And we got about like less than 14 minutes left before I take it out, wring it out, and then dry it. So to show, when you're doing blocking, if you're going from a pattern, go with what the pattern suggests. That way it shows you the dimensions, what it will look like, and how to do it. There's usually blocking instructions with a lot of stuff, especially for sweaters, vests, like little things like this. If you're doing socks, there are something called sock blockers. They're basically a shape in the shape of a outline of a foot. So like that. You can find plastic, you can find wood. They can be very cheap at like a secondhand store, or they can be on the pricier side if you're going for something fancy. But they can be hung up, they have different sizes, So if you're trying to go for something that will fit you, go with that. As for something like a hat, if you're going for something like a beanie or something very floppy, you can literally use a dish plate. I'm not kidding. I've done this before. Like, throw it into the lanolin wash, let it soak, wring it out, put it on a plate, and then elevate it so it'll dry evenly, and let it take its shape, and you have a very cute beanie slash beret. And if you have a basketball at home, you also have that. Like, using like a beach ball, a volleyball, or like a regular old basketball, excuse me, is actually something that you can use and utilize for hats. There are also coils that you can use to make very even lines. So say for example, I'm going to use this tapestry needle to say if I wanted to make something even, like so, what that will do is when I have the wires through on the edges, it'll make it a lot easier to just go pin, pin, and pin. There are patterns that do that for hats as well as scarves. And again, entirely up to you. You can go as very inexpensive or as expensive as you wish. I always encourage my students to go for the cheaper end, use what you got, and if other crafters find out that you're starting out on this, ask questions. You may end up coming home with a little bit of extra stuff, being like, oh, you're learning how to do this? Oh, hang on, let me give you some stuff. Take it, I don't need this anymore. It's a very common thing. So, there we go. And I'm going to pull up a couple of past examples that I have worked on when teaching my students. So these are just very basic dish towels that I made from various brands of yarn. They're all tonal, variegated. And as you can see here, the little bows are basically from little issues I had with the yarn. Sometimes yarn will have a knot. Sometimes when you're cutting up, when you have it on ready to wind and you're cutting up the little things that are holding it together, you may accidentally snip the yarn. Not the end of the world. It is annoying, but it's not the end of the world. And I have to constantly tell myself that too. Alright, so a little trick I do is you have the two yarn, like the two strands of yarn, cross them over, twist the end so that it will go through the eye of the needle, thread it, and since this is stockinette stitch, I'm going through the wrong side on the bumps and doing an up and down motion through all the stitches. What this does is keeps everything secure and prevents anything from warping right on out. This is a more tedious way of weaving in ends, but I have found that doing it this way makes things a lot more secure. And when I block, this will actually be a lot more snug. Got about 6 more minutes before I take that little swatch out. Once that's in, just give it a wiggle. And do the same for the other side. It's important to weave in your ends and making sure your ends are a little bit longer than needed. The reason being is when things start to move, they start to unravel. And after putting in a lot of work, you don't want that. always be sure to check when you're weaving in your ends that there's not a lot of warping going on, because you'll feel on the wrong side where the ends are woven in. But if you're just putting it like right side up, not a big deal. Alright, less than 1:30 to go. There we go, and timer is done, so I'm going to move these over here. And just doing a temperature check on my laptop. There we go. So what I'm going to do is very carefully take out the item and just squeegee out all the extra water that's still in there. So as you can see, this is a lot more floppy. It's had time to absorb all of the water and the lanolin. And the next thing is to get this as dry as possible. You do not want this to be soaking wet for days. That's how mold and mildew happen. You do not want your hard work to go to waste. So what I am doing here is just rolling it up in the towel and squeezing the ever-living crap out of it. So normally when I do this with larger objects, I put a towel on the floor and then just roll it up and walk on it. Using your own body weight, in my case, I'm about 200, 210, fluctuating. Okay. You want to make sure that there is nothing left. And when you do that, if it feels a bit drier once you do your little roll up and squeegee, you're ready to do some pinning. So, oof. Let's move my microphone. In regards to pinning, I did not realize my music was turned off. That is my bad. Let's do a different album, shall we? Okay. So what you want to do is when you have this on the mat or on a couple layers of towels, take your pincushion in this case, go for the corners. And what you're going to do is just go all the way around. And you can do a gentle blocking where it's just making everything nice and even. Or you can go a bit more aggressive and do some shaping. So what I'm doing is, because I did stockinette stitch in the middle, I'm trying to make sure that the sides do not roll up on each other. And if you're going for extra precise, you can go with a ruler. There we go. Or if you have a towel that has like the gingham design on it, that has like a 1x1 square, that's actually a really good ruler. And the reason why I have it on a towel the towel on top is because I do not want if there's any excess moisture to this, I do want it to be nice and clean and dry. And I do recommend using thinner pins. This way you don't leave gaping holes in your mat. And let's grab the corner. Right now, I am not doing a super aggressive blocking, but I am trying to make sure that this comes out as a very nice rectangle. And once again, if you have questions, please feel free to ask. This is the day to do it because I want people to ask questions. I want people to be curious about this whole process. And when you're able to do this yourself, it's very nice to do. You can just have like a podcast or an audiobook or your music playing and just enjoy yourself. So as you can see, right around here, it is pinned down. If you do need to add a few extra pins to even things out, you can. Like so. So the next one I'm going to do is the improvised sampler. And again, same process. You put it in and you do it gently. You do not want to agitate, especially if your yarn is prone to felting. So very gently push it in. Let the water overtake it. You're just trying to submerge everything and not do like an agitation or spin cycle. And if for any reason you do want to use the lanolin, but you all are allergic, gloves. Wear gloves, please. So I'm going to move the bowl back on over. And around this time is where I will take a quick break because it's well past an hour and I do need to refresh on drink. And if you're new here, I highly advise folks to take care of themselves however they see fit. Whether it is to get up, walk around, stretch, take some meds, take your medicine, drink, eat, giving your furry, scaly, or feathered friends some scritches and love, however you see fit. Be sure to take care of yourselves, and I'll be right back. everyone, Bloodthreadshears here. Just wanted to do a quick little video on how to host a stream. Hosting is a great way for streamers like myself to reach more people, and it's a free action, as I like to say. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's transition. So currently, we're on the front page of Twitch. You have your reel down here, your followed, and your recommended channels. But we're not going to focus on that. We're actually going to focus on the upper right corner where you have your icon. You're going to click on that, and there's going to be a drop-down menu. You have your activity, whether or not you're online. You're going to go all the way down to Creator Dashboard and click on that. This brings you to the Creator Dashboard. All accounts have this, regardless whether or not you stream, and you have a little bit of quick actions here, and you can add or subtract whatever. The important one is host a channel. Normally it will look like this, or just have the icon that looks like a TV. You click on that, and what pops up are some of the channels that you follow, or if you want to host somebody that's not on this list right here, you can go into the search function and type in the handle. Once you do that, you click on the icon, and you're ready to go and easy to host. And you'll see a little thing right over here, and you're hosting. Currently, I'm hosting Shattered Mutant. He's good quality people and I do recommend him. And I'm helping out by doing a host. These go a very long way and it's a major help. Let's transition. So that's how you host. I hope that was helpful and I'll see you around. And remember, they are a free action. Bye! Hello everyone, welcome back. So, something happened with my stream. Stand by. There we go. Anyways, hi Panther, welcome on in. How you doing? Y'all, if you're not following Panther, what are you doing? Go give them a follow. They're good quality people. I recommend them. So yeah, welcome on into the final part of the Knitting Basics series. So home from work and my cat is using me as a bed. Aww. So I have talked about how to do blocking, and right now I have on the timer the next item that I will be that is soaking up and may require a bit more pinning than the previous. So as you can see, it's a little hard to see right now and I don't feel like moving the camera. I pinned all the way around and made this very nice and even. Did I make it even? I did. I'm proud of myself. So while that is going on, I'm going to throw this over to Facecam and just talk about certain knitted items that you can do blocking with. I had mentioned like you can do a lot with any kind of stuff such as sweaters, such as skirts, worn garments, or just little knickknacks that you have. Some items you don't really need to do blocking with. If it's something that is nice and lacy, or you just want like a hem of a hat to be very even, for the most part, you don't exactly need to do blocking with hats. Or gloves for that matter. But if you want to do that just so they stretch out a bit and fit a little bit better, go for it. And blocking, I think, is essential for when you are making, knitting up a sweater. You want that to fit you properly. And just because it's a little tight now, like you saw with the little swatch, that basically stretched out quite a bit. And it is now twice its size. So you have a lot to work with. And for right now, I'm just trying to make sure that, what did I do with, oh, there they are. There we go. I'll finish this one a little later. I do want to focus on the items that have been woven in, such as these. And to do that, I'm going to go back to the craft cam. All right. So for larger items like these, you'd need something a little bigger. I mentioned that I have a little bucket that I will put in the tub, so if it spills or if it gets knocked over by accident, the water goes right into the drain, and it's not a big deal. I would advise, though, when you're working with lanolin, don't use a lot. I've had this bottle for a year now, and I'm only down to here. Because you only need like a dime or a quarter size. Because once this is going to be nice and dry, it'll be soft. And it'll be nice and floppy. A little floppier than this. And as you can see, like as the nature of stockinette, it's going to want to curl in on itself. So when you're blocking it, and you have it pinned down, you have a nice, even thing going on there. Kind of like that. And if I remember correctly, I think I still have this yarn because I think I want to do placemats and then put like a little backing, like a fabric backing on here, just to make it look pretty. But yeah, if anyone has questions, please feel free to ask. I know I sound like a broken record, but these sessions are meant for those who want to learn, who are interested in seeing if knitting is right for them, figuring out more complicated stuff, which I'm going to go into today, while that over there is going into the soak. So I did mention I would show cable stitch. Now what the hell's that? Oh, well, cabling is basically, say for example, it's like that little crisscross that you see on sweaters or anything knitted. And I do think you can do cabling with crochet. Do not quote me on that. So let's go with a 12 stitch cast on. Making sure that the needle is, like the yarn can travel up and down the needle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. yourself. And just for my sake, I'm going to be referencing my copy of The Reader's Digest Complete Guide to Needlework. This was published in 1978. This has been in my family. It is not going anywhere. It's one of those kind of things that it still has very useful information, but at the same time, some of the photos are very dated. And you can tell it's 70s. But in all honesty, it's still good to have. So let's reference. Let's go table of contents. Embroidery. One thing I do wish is there would have been like some color coordination going on. But by some luck, I reached the knitting section. Wow, my words. Words are not going to be a thing today. I do apologize. But if you can find a book like this, as you can tell, this has photos of actual stitch work and the actual grid. These books are still very useful, and I do intend on going through this in as a post on Kofi, because it has everything you need to know. And it even has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 projects in here ready to roll. And it shows everything. Get yourself a book like this. You could probably get it at a thrift store, or you can take it out at the local library. I am pro library in this house. And can I help you, Lexi? What's the matter, baby? Let's go with knitting basics. That's not what I want to do. I want cabling. We have the bind-offs. Ooh, the asks. Nice. It actually does have the crocheted bind-off and the invisible bind-off. So there's different bind-offs, and they work. And it also tells you like the side selvages, what they will look like, and I am very, very happy that it has all the information. So let's see. I am trying to look for crossing stitches. Cabling! Okay. I want... Here we go. This is actually what I was looking for. Rib stitches, diagonal. Where is cables? That's 12. These are rib stitches. Where is... Aha! Here we go. Cabling. So cabling is basically like that little pretzel looking thing. So I want to say... What is it? So for this sampler, multiple of 7 plus stitches plus multiple of 9 plus 3. So 3, 6, 9. So we have 12. I was correct. It's nice to have that sometimes. So we're gonna purl 3, knit 6. And the reason why I like the fact that books like this exist is because for me, as somebody who's been knitting for a very long time, there are stitches in here that I've always wanted to try, but I've never had the opportunity to do so. So, knit 6. Hold on. I am going to use a stitch marker because I would rather be on the safe side. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see how this holds up. And then two, 3. Let's put that stitch marker in that I forgot to put in. Throw that to purl. And books like this are great because if you're trying to build up confidence to design something yourself, but you need like a little bit of reference, you can do that. Proper etiquette and procedure dictates that you give credit where credit is due. If somebody designed like a design element that you like, that you want to put in your pattern, please make sure that you reach out to the designer because you don't know when... Wait, was I supposed to... Yeah. You don't know, like, if something is copyright or if something could land you into a whole world of trouble. All right, so... Okay. Can I help you, Lexi? What's the matter, baby? Did you need something? Do you need water? All right, give me a second. Let me finish this row. and I will show y'all what one type of cable needle looks like as soon as I finish this and pull out the cable needle from my other skein of yarn. All right. Because there are different ways of doing it. So let's do that. And give me 1 second. I just need to give my dog some water. Are you thirsty? You need water. Okay, let me get the cable needle. Oh no, what did I do with my cable needle? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. Whoops. All right. Let me go get the water. You know what? In the spirit of having to improvise, cable needles are usually in the shape of dip and a dip and then that, or as a hook. Since I cannot find mine, I will be using a hairpin in place of a cable needle. And I think my music stopped again. It did. All right, so getting into the cable row. So this is cable back. Okay. So in terms for cables, there are two different ways of doing a basic coiled rope, as it says here in the book. So just do the regular stitches to start off. And slip my stitch marker. So slip cable, so 3 stitches. stitches onto cable needle and leave at back of the work. Yeah, okay. So what we're going to do is take this little hairpin, slip off 3 stitches, and we're going to do what is called a 3x3 rib, 3x3 cable. It's basically taking 3 stitches, and in this case, into the back, and very carefully knit the rest of the 3 stitches. And do that. And take the improvised cable needle and knit those 3 stitches. If you were wondering how to do the basic knits and purls, the VOD for that is up on my YouTube channel, Bloodthreadshears. There we go. From there, purling the rest. And you have a lot of options in terms of doing cables. But what it looks like when you just do that one set, like that. It doesn't look like much, but this was a 6-row repeat, so I'm going to do the last of the set. Hang on, Lex, I'm almost done. Okay. And from there, put that there. You can see, we'll put the light on. You see the cable in the front, basically leaning one way. And as you can see from all the examples that are in this book right now, there are different ways to do this, and you can go wild with your designs. You can also do a cable in the front, meaning those 3 stitches that you picked up, instead of putting it in the back, you put it in the front, and you have a left, right. This is a right-leaning cable or a left-leaning cable. And a lot of the patterns out there will let you know what you need to do. But we are very close to the top of the hour, so... And I do hear a very insistent child being very insistent. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be back in a little bit. So, take care of yourselves. Hello everyone and welcome back. So I took some time during the break to take this out and get it as dry as possible. So as you can see, it has grown quite a bit. The stitches have loosened up and you can see, I'm going to show right here. Right around here, it's a little fuzzier. And excuse me for 1 second. And I can tell, like looking right at it, it's gotten a little fuzzier, and that's totally fine. So moving over here, I'm just move the microphone away. We're gonna do the same thing. Plop this down on the mat, like so. Move the straw out of the way. But this time, instead of being second verse, same as the first, this is a little bit different. There's going to be a little bit of tone modulation going on here. So I'm going to take the corner, push that through, and what I'm going to do is make sure that when I pin this down, all of the lace on the lattice will look nice and open. So again, this takes a lot of just regular old pinning. And right now I am just using the thinner pins, and you can use any kind of pin you like. I personally like using ones that are colorful. That way I don't have to worry about dealing with any other pins, especially if I'm like doing this on the floor, because doing it on the floor can become a floor is lava situation very quickly, and you do not want that, especially if you have pets. And in something like this, having like blocking wires would come in handy really quickly. And I'm just doing very gentle blocking. I don't want to be too aggressive. And I'm going to move the ball there. And I'm going to try and scooch this down so you can see what I'm doing. So instead of just going all around like I did with this one, we're going to go in a grid. That way all of the very pretty lace work that we put in will look visible and, most importantly, very pretty. But again, gentle is going to be key here. And to remind folks, if you do have questions, please feel free to put them in chat. And I am keeping an eye on chat through phone. And the fun part for blocking is you don't even have to know how to knit to do this. If you have like crochet lace, knitted lace that you bought store-bought, you can actually do this with that and shape the garment to however the heck you want it to be. So for example, if a bit of lace isn't working to your liking, soak it. And you can, for like the synthetic ones, you can easily do a gentle cycle and take it out of the wash when it's done. Let's actually get this pinned. Oh, okay. But yeah, like I said, if you are gonna do this when you are going to catch up on your shows, your podcasts, whatever. This does get tedious very quickly. I personally don't mind this, and that went all the way through the mat. Do not be afraid to manipulate this so that all of the lace can open up. let me just... Here. This way you can see. I know it's not the best angle, but work with what you get. All right. So Let me bring this over so everybody in chat can see this. So, as you can see, this is basically what it will look like pinned up. And if you do need to fine tune anything, you can. But as you can see, that's a lot of pins. So do that. And there we go. So that is basically how blocking usually happens, at least for wet blocking. Steam blocking is basically the same, just a little quicker. But I will leave this on the mat for about 2-3 days or a week at most. This way I know that it is fully dry and fully within the shape. But all of that happened because soaked it for 30 minutes, used a towel to take out any of the excess, and then pinned it. That's literally all there is. So that has been the final step of making something. Doing care and making sure that your garment lasts longer is a different thing. So always check the fiber content of your yarn to see whether or not it is safe to put into the washing machine. If not, you can always re-soak with a lanolin or a non-agitation type of wash. So yeah. Oh, shoot. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put them in chat or hit me up on Twitter. I'm always happy to help, and because this is basically my way of promoting the fact that I will be doing this. I'm opening up knitting commissions to help pay bills. I'm also doing knitting lessons, one-on-one or group, and classes are $50 for 2 classes, where I teach you the basics of what I did here, and I give supplementary material and homework. This way we can do everything. You can knit up the homework, and we can talk about where you are in terms of your confidence and skill level. And yeah, I'm excited to do that. And all the information is right here. So yeah, this concludes the Knitting Basics 101 series. And again, you can always contact me on Twitter. Throw me a DM if you need to. Please be respectful when doing so. Or if you're interested in commissioning me, you can you can email me at my email, bloodthreadshears@gmail.com. So I'm always happy to take requests for classes. If you're local to me, I travel. If you feel more comfortable doing it over Zoom, over Google Meets, Discord, you let me know and I'm happy to accommodate. So for now, I'm actually going to call it here. I've been on for 2.5 hours. And I don't think watching knitted items dry will be all that entertaining. So I'm gonna see who we can raid. And let's see. You know what? Milady Confetti is on, and she is playing Dead by Daylight. So, Milady Confetti, actual Disney princess in my opinion. Pronouns she, her. She's a very good person. I like her stuff, and I love her cosplay. She does amazing stuff, and the fact that she cosplayed Cinderella from the Whitney Houston production, Google it, because she did produce that entire thing and did an amazing job doing it. The fact that she cosplayed that is, oh my heart, so many hearts, so much hearts. So yeah, we're gonna go raid Confetti, and I'm going to try and move things around. So give me 1 second. Phone, you're going to have to go to voicemail. I'm not answering right now. Alright, everyone. That is the raid call. Please feel free to put whatever heart emotes you like in front of it. I will be back on Saturday to hopefully get started on the mock-ups for mock-up 2.0. I will be throwing the fabric in the wash and finding some tissue paper to make some notes on what I did right, what I did wrong, and to actually write down notes on what needs to be put in. So, last thing I have to say is, when we go over to Milady Confetti's stream, remember the raid rules. Listen to the mods and streamer. Be on your best behavior because it is a reflection of the love, music, and appreciation I bring over to her community. So, I'm gonna get going. I hope you all had a wonderful time. And remember, hey, you're doing good. Don't worry about it. Now go make some noise for Confetti, and I'll see you around. Bye-bye!